Welcome back to another episode of Sugar Mama's Fireplay. Today we're diving into a critical topic that I feel is more relevant than ever in our digital age. That is the importance of getting professional financial advice from a licensed and experienced financial planner, rather than just relying on the unregulated advice circulating on social media. I'm thrilled to be joined by Richard.nicholls from Blue Lantern, a seasoned financial planner like myself with years of experience helping everyday people navigate the complexities of personal finance. Richard is here today, right now, to join me and shed a light on why getting personalized financial advice is invaluable and the legal protection that it offers to you, as well as the stupidity and dangers of following financial advice from online influencers. This is a conversation that I get a little bit fired up if you haven't heard me previously speak about this. So you are not going to want to miss anything right now if you're serious about securing your financial future with smart, intelligent, and wise investment strategies. This is Sugar Mama's Fireplay. All right, Richard, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Pleasure.
I get a little bit angry when I see really limited, surface level, opinionated and ill-informed advice by social media influencers. And don't get me wrong, I think financial influencers, some of them are brilliant and very inspiring and motivating, but there is a lot of just downright dangerous, stupid advice. So apologies if I get a little bit fired up, but it's just something I just think is just fraught with danger.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you agree with me on some of this, but of course, if you don't, by all means, speak up. But can you first start by explaining to everyone right now the key differences between getting financial advice from a licensed financial planner like yourself and myself versus following something that you see on social media?
I suppose the main difference would be when you seek financial advice from a planner, that planner will carry out a detailed investigation to your current financial situation. Yeah, indeed. Ascertain your financial goals and objectives, ascertain your attitude to risk, and from that, develop a strategy that should achieve your long-term goals.
So in a fact find, it's about looking at where you are right now and what is it that you want. Starting, you're at point A,
yeah,
and you want to get to point B. And a financial planner's job is to work out the map, the instructions, the directions in the most efficient and effective way possible that suits your needs. I think a lot of people don't quite understand how important that fact find is, because if anyone's ever seen a fact find, sometimes it's like 30 pages.
Yeah, indeed. It's a detailed document.
Exactly, and it asks really important questions that no financial influencer can ever go there with. Even important things that you sometimes are even uncomfortable to answer, like what's your health like?
Yeah, indeed. Your smoking status. Do you have any health issues? Do you have a will? Do you have a power of attorney? Have you got?
Yeah. Do you have a family member with health concerns that may impact your financial decisions? It's not until you ask those questions people go, oh wow, I hadn't actually thought about that and how that impacts, and actually how it is a very important piece of the puzzle in helping work out the best financial plan for you. And even going on to, from the fact find, we do a risk profile. Mm-hmm. So can you explain to the listeners what a risk profile is?
Our risk profile is basically a series of questions, typically multiple choice answers. And the way that you answer that will determine or have some determination as to your attitude for risk. Because you've got two things when it comes to risk. You have how much risk typically you're comfortable in taking, but also how much risk you should take given your stage in life.
And how much time you've got.
Correct. For example, if you're a younger person that comes across as relatively risk adverse, or because you've got 20, 30 years up your sleeve before maybe you need to access super, for example, then the conversation should be around, educating that person around, maybe you should be taking a little bit more risk because you've got time frame up your sleeve to smooth out volatility. Whereas on the flip side of that, you might have an older client who has a very high tolerance to risk because they've come through that financial journey and understand investments a bit more, but they're knocking on the door of 60. Maybe they shouldn't be taking the amount of risk that they're comfortable in taking, and the conversation will then be about trying to de-risk that person.
And this is what worries me, is you see financial influencers, and yes, they have the general advice warning up there, and that's fine, but they'll be talking about, oh, I've invested in this ETF, and they'll name that ETF, and yes, they're stating facts, that's fine, but someone interprets that as advice, and they think, oh, well, if that financial influencer was, investing in that, I'll go and put my superannuation money in that. But they don't realize that that particular investment product is for someone who's got a time frame of, say, 10 years, 15 years, or even longer. And they are someone who's literally a few years away from approaching retirement and may need to have a slightly larger allocation to conservative assets. This is where the danger lies, but you don't know that, and they don't know that. And this is the problem with a lot of financial influencers, that they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know the impact that they can have on someone, by someone innocently interpreting that as advice.
Well, that's right. And I think you bring up ETFs. I think that's probably on the lower end of the risk that sometimes you see influencers talking about, because you see it, and certainly in recent years, a lot of them talking about crypto, NFTs, and certain meme coins, and people just don't understand how risky those are.
Yes, and they innocently jump in and often for a lot of people, it's actually been their first investment in crypto, because they've heard these, rags to riches tales, and they've jumped headfirst with no idea that they may as well just go to the casino, taking the same level of risk.
Yeah, indeed.
Can we talk the value of a financial planner in a strategy? Because I think a lot of people think, oh, a financial planner is going to tell me where to invest. But to me, that is just probably 20% of the service. And I would say that so much comes from designing the roadmap or the directions or the instructions. Right? That's the last piece of the puzzle, is picking the investments. It's the actual strategies involved. Can you explain to everyone how important this is? Because I feel like everyone hears me like a broken record. I want about someone else to be able to explain this.
Well, the role of the planner is to show where they are currently, understand with them where they want to be, and then work out which, because there'll be many different routes they could potentially take. And then between you and the client, you would then go through those various different options and discard the ones that either don't work or they're not comfortable with. And that might be, you're not comfortable with shares over property or vice versa. So that process of eliminating those various options is where we sort of then end up with the strategy.
And the other thing is, with a financial planner, is they'll often stop you from doing something disastrous. And that's another, I guess, forgotten about value of financial planners. A financial influencer is not going to stop you from making a disastrous decision. But a financial planner will say, hey, I need to let you know this is not in your best interest to do this. This is fraught with danger, and I think we need to sit down and just review this before you, decide yes or no. And that may save someone, $100,000 in tax. They may save someone 5 years of investments and savings. There is so much underlying value in that. Can we also talk about the financial strategy? Obviously, you sit down, you go through this fact find, and we go through really detailed questions as to, who you are, what your value system is, what are your dreams, what are your goals, and what are those deadlines for those, and also, we even go, when you're a financial planner, it's not just your client, it's actually the circle around your client. It's your client's partners, your client's immediate family. It's, all the people that could potentially be impacted from, your client's decisions. When we do that fact find, and it then takes you onto the risk profile, those are the most important documents, but they're not stagnant.
No, indeed. It also cash flow. Working out what their budget is like is paramount as well, because it's all very well and good saying they want to invest into this or save for that, but until you understand if they have the capacity for that in the first place, it's a bit of a moot point. And if they don't have the capacity, what areas can they potentially cut back on? And it can be quite an eye-opening experience for people to work through their budget. But what areas they can cut back on to give them the capacity they need to either save for the children's education or putting the money down for the deposit on the home or whatever the goal or aspiration may be.
And that's where a financial planner will sit down and go, all right, okay, there's a lot of goals here. Let's sit down and work out what is actually priority, what is pressing, what are you happy to park for a while and come back and visit further down the track.
Because they can conflict. You often see clients that want to invest, maybe in a share portfolio or property, but they also want to do renovations.
Yeah, now, that's really common, isn't it?
Massively. And what you don't want to do is for that client to go ahead with an investment strategy that then ankle taps their renovations. You've got to understand which of those priorities is most important. And for most people, the renovation typically is the more important goal. So that if that's the case, then a lot of the time they may need to park their investment aspirations to make sure they can get that renovation done, because, like I said, the worst thing would be for the client to go headfirst into something else, then come time to do the renovation and they go, that investment's now stopped me from doing that renovation.
But the beauty of a financial planner is it's not about stopping necessarily. It's like, it's about, okay, well, let's focus on this. And
understanding it.
Whilst you may be saving up, the client may be saving up for that renovation, you can still tap into other things that you can have bubbling away in the background, such as, okay, well, whilst you're, making sure you've got the DA's gone in, you're, saving up, you're getting quotes from builders, let's also make sure that your superannuation is addressed properly and make sure that that money is invested and that you're doing everything you can to maximize that. And then also let's make sure that you've, protected yourself from a personal insurance point of view so that, no matter what, that mortgage is always protected, it's paid off, you've got an alternative source of income to rely on if something happens to you from a medical point of view and you can't work. All these pieces of the puzzle come into financial planning. It's not just picking actual underlying investments. And I sort of made the comment about it not being stagnant. Can we talk about the ongoing service that comes with financial planning?
Yeah.
Because you don't just come in and do a financial plan and then kick someone out of your office and go, off you go, implement and follow that. And that's, the next 30 years sorted. It's never like that. Relationships break down, might have more family members, work situation changes, different.
Well, that's the only constant in life is things will change.
Exactly, yeah.
And your plan needs to be able to morph to that.
100%.
And we do that by reviews, regular reviews with your client, sitting down, making sure nothing's changed. If it has changed, what's changed? And then if those changes impact your strategy, how do we then pivot to make sure that you can continue on your lifestyle goals?
And also there's also the pivoting because of changing legislation and, government opportunities and schemes that open up,
Well, that's right. You think about how much super legislation's changed in the last 10 years, let alone
huge.
You're constant. They're constant. Every single government seems to fiddle with it in some way, whether or not it's how much you can have in pension phase now, or the new cap on large balances. It's constantly changing.
Yeah, and this is why a financial influencer cannot go there. Number one, they're not licensed to be talking about sort of strategies like superannuation and tax and so forth. A financial planner will actually go through all those opportunities and actually, call you up and say, hey, there's this opportunity. This is something we should probably sit down and have a chat to, because you can potentially get an extra $20,000 in super, or actually we can actually look at your home loan and renegotiate a better deal with you, and with that extra money we can put towards the share portfolio or whatever it may be. This is why having that someone holding your hand on an ongoing basis, making sure that you're, doing the laps, and I say to clients, when I was running my financial planning practice, I was like, I'm like a swimming coach. You're telling me you want to win a gold medal. I can't swim those laps for you. But what I will do is I will meet you at the swimming pool at 5 a.m. and I will walk up and down the line of the swimming pool whilst you do the laps and you jump in the water, and I will show you how to perfect your stroke, so that you can move as fast as you possibly can through the water without burning too much energy, and you're able to get to the end of the race in a sustainable way where you're not burnt out at the end. And, that's the way that I look at financial planning. And this is why I just throw my arms up in the air when I see dangerous advice that's just very limited surface level, and it's only really for a fraction of time. It takes no strategic element that a financial planner can really offer in the piece of the puzzle. Can you share with me, some of the legal protections now that come from a financial plan? Because once that financial planner, as you said, has the statement or the fact find, the risk profile, Can you explain how the statement of advice comes together and the legal protection comes from seeing a licensed financial?
Once you've been given a statement of advice or financial plan, you do have quite a significant legal protection, especially if that once you get given advice, it's on the understanding it's appropriate for you. Now, if it's not appropriate for you, then you do have recourse.
And this is, I think, so important,
which you don't get with an influencer.
Exactly. I mean, so say you gave me some bad advice. I can actually come back and say, hey, this actually was not great advice. Like, we've got to do something about it. And you have to
deal with that, or you can then go to the complaints authority and take it that way.
And you have there's no recourse with a financial influencer at all.
No.
It's just your bad luck. You're silly enough for following that advice.
Correct.
And of course, if someone has created content that makes it look like advice and says it's advice, that's a little bit different, because that's, breaking the laws and something ASIC takes very, very seriously.
Well, yeah, that's the main benefit of seeing an advisor, is the advice you receive will be appropriate for you. And if it's not, you have recourse.
Okay, as we wrap up today's episode, can you share with me some experiences where people have maybe come to you because they've seen something on social media and you've actually said, no, that's not a good idea?
I suppose I do see a few people that have come to me wanting to invest into crypto, especially, and I'm not sure whether or not it's from social media or not, but where they come from. But when you've got people in their 50s talking to me about crypto, I do get a little bit worried, because they're hearing it from grandkids or other avenues that they've heard this from, and then obviously because you then in the media you see the Bitcoin billionaires, the people that bought Bitcoin 20 years ago or something, and now it's worth millions, and everyone's trying to jump on it, and that does cause concerns, especially for those, like I said, those older clients, where they should really be steering very, very clear of anything like that.
Ooh, absolutely.
If they don't understand it, you shouldn't invest into it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the golden rules of investing.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand, that doesn't mean you just don't do it. It means you keep asking questions.
Yeah, correct.
So you get to the end and go, all right, I understand it. I do like it and want to do it, or actually I understand it and I definitely don't want to do it.
Yeah, indeed.
And, the value of that is huge, because it could save you a lot of time. And
I think it's one of the main reasons people come for advice, is they know there's all these things they could be doing. They're just a little unsure about how to do it.
And you know what? If I injure my knee, I go and see a doctor and I see a specialist.
Yeah.
I don't jump on Google and follow the knee doctors online. Like that's just dumb.
Watch an Instagram
surgery.
You don't watch an Instagram reel of how to fix your knee.
Exactly. And this is our money. This is part of our well-being. We need to delegate to the experts. That's exactly what they're there for. All right, as we wrap up today's episode, and a lot of people know this, I don't take on new clients, and I haven't been for quite some time, because I'm really focusing on helping educate people around money. I know yourself, you talk to people all the time, and I've had a few people come and see you and have a chat. How do you work with clients? Like, do you have an initial appointment? Is it done over the phone? Do you deal with people across the country or overseas as well? And, what are the costs involved just to get people started? Because a lot of people are ready. Yeah. They're just completely overwhelmed, and they're starting to realize, okay, all right, financial influencers can be helpful, inspiring, and motivating, but there's not advice there. What's your process?
Well, the first process is the first step of the process is to have that initial consultation. That can be done face to face or via Zoom. My preference is, face to face, but obviously, if you're interstate or overseas, I don't see a lot of overseas, but if you're certainly interstate, then that's done via Zoom. That initial appointment is more of a getting to know you session. I can't give you any financial advice, because all advice must be in writing. It's more of an opportunity for me to explain a bit more about who we are, what we do, how we do things, the processes we go through, how we make our money, fees, etc. Because you do need to know all of that before anyone can consider engaging us. And likewise, it's an opportunity for the potential client to explain more about them, who they are, what they're working towards, what they're comfortable with, most importantly, what they're not comfortable with. So I can be confident that what we do, first and foremost, is going to be of some benefit to them. There's no cost or obligation to that first meeting. It's just like I said, a bit of a getting to know you session.
Yeah.
From there is a bit of a financial planning process which we do run through, and we explain how our remuneration model works.
And can someone come to you and say, look, I just want advice on my superannuation, where it should be invested, what I should be doing, salary sacrificing? Can I come to you and just say I want limited advice? Is that possible?
we can do that, certainly. And if it's around salary sacrificing, I might be even be able to do that under a general advice model.
Oh, wow, that's really helpful to know.
Without having to go down a fee model. At the end of the day, for me to charge fees, or for us to charge fees, there has to be clear benefit. The last thing I want, to do is take someone on board as a client and then go, well done, keep doing what you're doing, because no one's going to really feel they've got much benefit from that process. So for first and foremost, we need to fully make sure that there's clear benefit in bringing you on board as a client.
Thank you so much for being so open and honest and transparent and allowing me to, I guess, download or vent to you about my bitches and moans with, irresponsible, advice online. So thank you for sharing that space with me.
Pleasure.
For anyone who's interested in having a chat with you and taking you up on that offer for an appointment, what's the best place or best method or communication path to get you?
Email is always best because then it's there. My email address is richard@bluelantern.com.au. That's generally the best avenue to get in touch with me.
Okay. All right. Look, everyone, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I really now hope that we've taken off those rose-tinted glasses when it comes to what you see online. And I'm not just bitching about financial influencers, any type of content you see online. And for this reason, every single episode of mine starts with the general advice warning. It's there for your protection so that you understand at no stage am I ever telling you or recommending or advising you to go and do something. I'm simply giving you information so that you can gather your own thoughts and feelings and opinions based on the facts and how that relates to your financial situation and, most importantly, relates to your financial goals and dreams. So for everyone who's listening, please feel free, obviously, to share this episode with any of your family and friends. Make sure you are following Sugar Mama's Fireplace so you can listen to next week's episode, which is always published, as you know, 5 a.m. every single Monday morning, rain, hail, or shine. And once again, thank you so much to Richard Nicholls from Blue Lantern. I'll see you next Monday morning. Ciao for now.